if we can ever go anywhere, we must start from telling ourselves the truth. There's a lag. We're behind time. We're behind progress, basically, as a people in this region. We're most humbled to have you. Obiagu Speech Series is for the future. All right, I'll just talk about it a bit, and then do some preambles, and then we'll bring our speakers up, and we will start having the real thing. Today's meeting was supposed to be what we call a family meeting, because what we want to do is to craft a program that is meant for the average Southeast youth, something that would develop us, something that would invest in us, something that will bring us to that level that we want to be, but not just as individuals, but as communities. What we hope to do is that over time, we're all going to partner to make sure that no Southeastern youth is stranded. And there was nobody who was saying, okay, fine, how do we develop the young people that will build the future? All right, at that time, they were always telling us, youth, they are the leaders of tomorrow. We just kept hearing it and kept hearing it. But then when we plot tomorrow, we didn't see ourselves in it, because we didn't even know what tomorrow was supposed to be. We didn't even know what tomorrow is supposed to look like in the first place. So if there's nobody saying, okay, this is how tomorrow is supposed to look like, and these are the skills that you need to gain to be able to play in that tomorrow and, contribute effectively and gainfully, then there's no future. All right, all you have is now, and all the now meant was just go to school, come out, and look for a job. Apparently, that was not the life I wanted to live. That wasn't the life I wanted to live. And I had a peculiar situation, because in my third year in medical laboratory sciences, I knew I did not have any business being in medical laboratory sciences. I just knew. I woke up one morning and I said, I'm in the wrong place. And I was not failing, no. Because somebody would just say, he was failing. That's why he wanted to give up. I was not failing. I eventually actually graduated top 5 of my class at the end of the day. So it's not because I was failing, but there was that satisfaction that I didn't have. I didn't see tomorrow. All right, so I started looking for programs. And luckily for me, Leap Africa brought a youth leadership program to Enugu at the time. And funny enough, you had to pay for it. It was, Lagos at that time, young people had started, this was far back as 2005. At that time, young people had started paying for their own training programs in Lagos. In fact, they started that thing in Port Harcourt, and they had to shut it down because the youth in Port Harcourt were telling them to pay them so they can come. Meanwhile, the youth in Lagos were already looking out for these programs and paying to attend these programs. Do you understand what I mean? So when they came to Enugu, some of us encouraged them by at least raising up to 50% of our registration fees at the time and paid. And, they had about 25 people in the hall and all that. And I was telling, one of our friends who's also going to speak to us today that there's not a single person that I met in that process of training that is not doing something significant, whether in Nigeria or outside the country. None. All right? So that experience, by the time I left school, started working out for me a dream for the average Southeastern youth. I sat, in a TEDx event in Port Harcourt in 2018, if I'm right, beginning of 2018. And I said, this has to come to the Southeast. But I called a couple of my friends and said, guys, you see what? I'm sitting in an event. It's called TEDx. I'm sure most of you have heard about it. We're doing it in Enugu this year. Some people agreed with me. Some people did not. I, left Port Harcourt the following month, came down here, was here for like 1 month. Of course, after getting the license, for TEDx Bisala Road, what's called TEDx Bisala Road, at the time. And eventually we planned our very first TEDx event in the Southeast. At the time there was one that had happened in Owerri, but it happened like the 3 years before, and they hadn't come back to organize it again. So I said, we're going to do this and we're going to continue to do it until it grows, beyond this, what it is at the time, all right? And that is the journey that we've had, since 2018 till 2022 when, the TED organization in New York considered our work quality and said, we'll grant you a license to represent your city. And that was how TEDx ENUGU was born. So this is where we are today, Obiagu Speech Series. And it is our own adaptation of, a unit. So it's for our community. It's for the TEDx ENUGU community, where we're putting everybody in the room and we're saying, okay, so let's talk. Let's talk. What are the things that we need? How do we need to grow ourselves so that we can grow our region? And this is what this TEDx, this side of the community TEDx program is going to grow into. So these are early days for us where we host about 30, 50, 40 people, and talk about these things, But we're going to be bringing real issues eventually as our own speech series that we're curating and launching to the rest of the world, So hopefully in a few years to come, we're going to have OSS somewhere in Ghana, OSS somewhere in Tanzania, OSS somewhere in Kenya, and all that, That's how dream starts. So we're talking about it now, and it looks like, but one day somebody's going to bump into it 5, 10 years later and say, he was saying it the other day, and it looks as if it was really unserious at the time. But that's where we're going.
So I'll start again. I'll introduce the theme of today's event, which is the power of service in leadership and life. So the literal meaning of this would be a service-oriented type of leadership, where as a leader, you give back and not take. So you're serving the people, you're giving everything that you have, and you're able to give. But I'm going to dwell more on a particular type of service today, the apprenticeship type. So I'll take the Igbo apprenticeship system as an example for today's speech. So if you may, you know what we say in the Igbo apprenticeship system, where we talk about Igbo boy or Imwolu. In today's style of leadership, in my generation, our generation, we have more of CEOs than people who are willing or available to go through the process of growth, okay? So, I mean, we will not be sensitive to the culture of today and the opportunities that is available to every one of us. We don't have to go the staircase way. You can do the lift, the microwave easy type, and then you start up. You have more startups than you have people who are actually available to work for companies and institutions today. If I am to ask here, I'm sure I'll find a lot of CEOs in our midst. So I want to talk to us as young people, as young leaders, young people who are in the process of leadership, to encourage us not to get discouraged and to talk about the importance of going through the process. Okay, so you have to go through the part where you learn, I mean, from theory to practical experiences, and then to mastery, where you become a master of whatever craft in whatever sector it is that you're learning to become a leader in. So this is very important. And I'll always encourage young people that I engage to say that a little bit of this and a little bit of that would not hurt, okay? So the old and the traditional ways of, learning, understanding, mentorship. So go to people who have done this in whatever sector that you find yourself in or that you have interest in. Go to people who have done it before, have done it well, so you don't have to make the same mistakes as they have and waste time. So through their experience, they'll hold your hands and then take you through life, and then you understand what you need to do and you're hitting it straight. So further to that, I would use myself as an example. Some people like to address me as young, even though I don't want to believe or agree that I'm as young. But I'll tell you a little bit of myself. When I finished secondary school, I had to get my first job immediately before my admission into the university. At my first job, I was paid 10,000 naira as salary. So the whole idea is that I go to wherever. So I was working as a tourist assistant with an agency, so where I take people, so I have to research and find whatever tourist attractions there will be, and find people who might be interested to go take a look at them. What it did for me, I didn't think it was a good thing that my family had to make me go through that at such a young age. So the instruction I had was, you're going to be paid 10,000 naira, and then when they deduct tax, I go home with 9K plus. So I was supposed to use it as transportation for the entire month. So I resume early at work, move around files, help people in the office, and then once it's time for lecture, I take off and rush to school. So I didn't also get the experience of after school hangout, so I have to rush back and stay there to close of business. But this created, it took me, I had firsthand the experience of discipline. So I had to be disciplined with my time and with my money, okay? And then I will not take away the lessons that I learned from the older people that I had there. And if you check through the projection of my career, moving to the bank and then working in private university to the technology space where I did over 10 years in sales and marketing. I have not stopped serving. I've served and will continue to serve under some very important people and good mentors who would never stop holding my hands and then bringing me opportunities. So I'm bringing this to us today. There's a lot of things that drive the decisions that we make as young people today. So there's the culture, there's the trend, and there's also the pressure to come out and look a certain way. There's also timelines. I'm not sure who made these rules, but I'm an advocate for take your time and be your own trend. You don't have to be pressured. Not to say that it's not important that you pay attention to things in your environment, but as you're taking your time, it's very important that you continue to self-develop and then continue to learn. If there are things that you're doing, be open-minded, you take feedback and unlearn things that are unimportant, and then continue to grow yourself as an individual. And make sure that around you at every given time, you're not limited to one mentor. So if you find interest in anything, in any sector, make sure to look for people who your thoughts and your ideas are aligned with them, and then you can go to them and then have them mentor you. I'll talk a little bit about what we do. We don't go as one, we go as a pair. This is an example of it. So we work together. I met Mrs. Adenike about 19 months ago. And we were both appointed to work for the executive governor of Enugu State. But when I met this lady, my background is strictly around sales and businesses. So if you want to talk to me about any business, come to it. I'm a business owner myself. I run a successful business and a couple of it. But I met her and then, hey, okay. So when I met Mrs. Adenike, I found that she had a lot to teach. Can you hear me now? Hopefully this works and lasts. So when I met her, I was not shy to build a relationship with her and try to learn from her wealth of experience. So she's coming from a total different background from what I do and what I know how to do. So don't ever at any point feel intimidated. Don't be full of yourself. You stop learning when you die. So don't be shy. If you see people who know it better than you, it is always good that you encourage yourself by going to them. I want to also talk about some of the things to encourage us as young people as you continue to climb the ladder of leadership. It is very important that you uphold integrity. You cannot do without it. That's who you are. So you can say stuff and do other stuff, but you must have integrity as a person. Your word must mean something. People should be able to trust you and who you are. So there's also the quest for riches and not skill that has hindered a successful apprenticeship process now. So the society gratifies wealth and riches irrespective of where it comes from. So it's as if that people who work hard and are taking their time would I, if I'm allowed, unserious set of human beings. So please, times have changed. I like to say when we were younger, you were not allowed to bring stuffs home. Your mom and your dad would ask you where you're coming from, who gave you those. You can buy clothes, you can own things that you cannot clearly afford. But now you can bring a vehicle home and you're celebrated. You can even go for Thanksgiving and you're not able to explain your source, okay? So we are not going to turn our eyes against what the society of today has encouraged, and that has put a lot of pressure on young people to meet up with certain timelines, both realistic and unrealistic timelines. So you have to also be very patient with yourself. It's a process. I keep saying process, process, process. As you grow, as you're on your journey, you're self-developing, make sure you give yourself room. Be patient with yourself, okay? I also want to talk about your ability to tune out the noise. There's a lot of noise in our environment. There's a lot of distractions. So, but make sure that in achieving your goals, the goals that you have set out, that you're able to tune out the noise and focus and continue to concentrate. It's just a matter of time and then you get to where you're going to. I also want to speak a little bit about celebrating your little wins, no matter how little it is. So you have set a target to complete an online free program. It's okay, celebrate it. Is a big win. Forget all the big English and all the big words that we see on LinkedIn. Everybody is out of space, is not here. So you're like, what are you doing? When are you ever going to get to this level? Celebrate your little wins. You go out today, you complete a task at work, celebrate it. It's your own success, it's your story, it's your journey. You also have attitude is important. I'd always say to people, attitude is everything. We had the privilege of interviewing a young lady this morning, and her attitude was everything. So we would have walked her out of the door if not that we're emotionally intelligent enough to say, let's give them a chance and even listen to them. You don't know what their story is, but your attitude, your outlook, your general posture is important. How you carry yourself when you meet new people, how you want to engage them. No matter how big you think you are, you're bigger than them, you don't know who they are. It's good that you have a respectful outlook and posture when you meet people. It's very important. It's one thing that is lacking in our generation. But I'll say it's old school to be respectful, but it's one that you need to keep. You need to have. If you really want to go up there, you need to have it. Keep the faith and the end in view. Whatever it is that you set out to do, make sure that your goals, that you have set out every step of it, and as you continue to grow as an individual, no matter what obstacle that you might experience, life is without trouble. Nobody, it's not possible, there's no life without trouble. So long as you grow up and you start your journey from primary school, I always tell everybody, You don't start your own waka. Your mother will hang your bag and then you're off to school. You're sick in secondary school, is nobody's business. You forgot to wash your shirt, your school uniforms. You have to show up there irrespective. When you go to the university, is your story. You will show up every single day, whether you want it or not. So as you continue to go, it's not going to be easy. It's not promised to be easy. But in the end of it all is where we end up that all matters. So it's part of the process that builds our character and it builds who we are. All right, so myself, also there's this thing about this new generation. So when we try to hire young people to work in our team, the first thing we hear is hybrid. I want to come in twice a week and I'll work remotely. And then you're asked, okay, what experience do you have? I'm waiting to serve. I'm not going for youth service yet, but okay, how much do you want to be paid? I want 500K. So I want virtual, a hybrid. My money is virtual and hybrid. So the truth is, if you find yourself in a particular setting or place, you sometimes have to shift to fit in. I'm not saying in every situation, depending on what is important to you and what you want to prioritize. My job role and her job role says revenue, okay? So, but we've moved from, we don't have scope. Yes, he's laughing, Mr. Chinedu knows, he understands. We moved from project management to
waste management,
to water projects, to every single thing that you can think of that you see in Enugu today. We are behind and we're there. We are out every day, sometimes 4 a.m. if we're going for waste. We have to leave our houses 4 a.m. The both of us were women, not with anybody. We have to be out there. We have to hold people accountable to do their job and all of that. So we don't, if we fit within the scope, then the result that some of us see and enjoy today would not be here. So sometimes you look at the results that you want to get at the end of the day, and then you give in what you can give as much as you can. So it's okay to be selfless. Sometimes you don't get compensated for these things. But then for us, the joy we get is that we see changes. When we go out and we mix within people, most of you might not have met us before now, but we mix around and we hear people say stuff, right? And when they're talking about, oh, that this has improved in the state, this has improved there, that's for us is more than enough compensation. So you see the result of the work that you get to do. So some things that you would do at different points in your life would not be cash benefits. It would also not be for the immediate, but you're building your profile, you're gaining the experience. As you grow, you will cash it in. You'll get to a point where they'll be like, oh, I need somebody in this field, and somebody will be like, oh, I know somebody, and then you get paid for everything that you have done your whole life. It's that easy. So please, it's okay to get for the immediate. You have bills to pay, you have responsibilities, but let's not forget to give and maybe hope in the future that God is faithful to us enough that we cash in if we don't cash in now. So, oh really? That's interesting. Okay, so my time is up. He was very kind to me and didn't want to cut me short, so I'm happy to be here once more. I feel like I'm a part of this community now, looking at all the young people. I feel like we can all, beyond this network. Sorry, I forgot to mention something very important. The network that you build is everything. The network that you build is everything. You're going to need it. Today, you're going to need it. Anytime, you're going to need it every time. So where I am today is people that mentored me at different points, and then they sat in rooms where I don't have opportunities to, and they say, okay, this person, we need somebody to do this. They go, I know somebody who you can trust and can rely on, and they put in the good work, and then eventually you continue to grow. That's why you need that circle of very solid people as you grow. So look for mentors. We also have a platform where we try to engage on a day-to-day. TEDx has now incorporated us. We are now partners with the state. I'm proud of you and the work that you do. Well done. And we're happy with what you're doing here with the community of young people. Continue to hold their hands and then lead them around. So I'll stop here so that my colleague, Mrs. Adenike Okebu, SSA to the Governor on Revenue, would get an opportunity to speak. Thank you, guys.
My name is Adenike. Is there any other Yoruba person here?
Me.
You. I love that. That's exactly what I was waiting for. All right. So it's a privilege to be here this evening, and we're always delighted when we're given the opportunity to speak with the people that hold the future. For every moment that we're given the opportunity to inspire people, it gives us hope. It gives us fulfillment on all sides. That if there is nothing more that we're able to achieve in our lifetime, that we've been able to transfer what we are today into other people, and they are also able to reach 1 million other people. I'll start by asking you to imagine today that your phones do not have data, that you do not have access to the internet, that you do not have access to what is happening globally, and you're left to make a decision on what you want to become in the next 5 years. This is a practical assignment. Just take 1 minute. Think about it. You have no access to internet, no access to the global world. You were born in Nigeria, and you're asked a question. What would you want to be? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So this was what we were going through when we were going for interviews, even in the 1999s, just before Obasanjo brought GSM. We were in secondary school, and they would ask, what do you want to be in future? And all of us had only 4 answers. If you are not a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, even accountants was not there. It's an engineer that will be the next one. Where are we today? Where? Now, you are all privileged. You have the information. You have the exposure. You have everything but one thing. And that one thing is what has brought us here today. To remind you of the essence of service in growth and in aspirations and in accomplishments in life. I'll ask another question. Think about one very great leader that you know today. Just one great leader that you know today. And tell me one attribute that you envy about that leader. We've been in schools. Your lecturers are examples of your leaders. Which one of your lecturers are you closer to? The one that comes into class and say, everybody come, bring out your sheet of paper, we're writing a test today. I don't want to hear anything. You make noise, I fail you. Or the one that comes and says, what do you think about this? Let's discuss. It's as simple as that. Now, what kind of leader do you want to be? Sandra said earlier on, you found yourself in a situation where there's so much about SDG goals, entrepreneurship, climate, and all of that. So much going on. You are even fighting for yourself to even align yourself to which one you want to do. We now have on Instagram, CEO, Beauty Tricks, CEO, whatever tech, CEO Gucci store, CEO. The way everybody adds a prefix to their name now is so free. Things we couldn't do ordinarily before. Now that CEO doesn't just stay on your Instagram handle. It now starts finding its way here. And then you are invited to a meeting with people that have sown And the first thing is to come with your blazer that looks like a tuxedo, and then you are marching into the room. Sandra mentioned, where is your respect? Where is your courtesy? Where is your... And one thing that is so painful is that you have only learned from yourself. Experience is something that you cannot buy. And whether you like it or not, you sit in any room. The only thing that sets you aside from every other person in that room is the path that you have walked. You can be a CEO all you want. You CEO yourself. Is it to employ somebody? Open this cafe today. Just somebody is just investing in you, this cafe. You can employ somebody, but can you run it? Do you have problem-solving skills? Are you able to sustain this business? Are you able to go for meetings with fellow investors and engage meaningfully? It's not, do you know what is trending now on YouTube or on X? In fact, that fight with Burna Boy yesterday, hot. That's not what they talk in business meetings. So how do you gather this? Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, CEO. How can we help you? What experience have you gathered? Have you served anyone? Have you helped anyone with their businesses? Have you helped anybody grow? What's your success story? What's your investment? And what is your impact? And see, what you don't do, you finish, because you sold pant and bra in the university, you are now a fellow CEO. Can you and Tony Dumelu sit down in the same room? What are the attributes of those leaders that you envy, that you want to see in yourself? I'll quickly tell you a story about myself. NYSC, I went through the Big Four. I've been an auditor for 20 years now. And everything that I've done all my life till date is serve. If leadership comes with it, fine. But there is nowhere, myself and Sandra make jest of ourselves sometimes to say, SSA before our time was luxury. Immediately we came, we turned it to house girl work. We are the only SSA you find inside keke. The ones that will wear leggings on Saturday morning and on Port Harcourt Expressway. But what is the difference? There are 10,000 youths, 10 million youths. What sets you aside? What is the differentiating factor? White eggs in the room everywhere. Let me tell you how effortless this is. If you have 10 white eggs on this table, and one of them has just got one red spot on it, everybody that walks into that room would pick that one with the red spot first. That is one thing that youths don't want to do. Your red spot today might be your experience and service. Your red spot today might be the sacrifice, your impact, your giving, your learning. But you want to stay within the 10. And you know what those other 9 will do? Eye service, 9 they do. You two they do. The same way we do A, you don't do A, B, C. You're going to get that a lot, and that's what she was talking about, noise. The noise will come. You know where you're going. Now, one thing I need to help you with today is, even as at today that I'm sitting down here, if you ask me what I want to be in the next 5 years, I will only tell you my dreams. But don't go to the next question to ask me how I want to get there. I don't have a clue. But one thing I know has never failed me is that while at it, while working towards it,
Give your best.
I give my best with my last drop of my blood. I ensure in that journey, I enjoy it. I ensure in that journey, everybody I come across feels the impact of being helped to the best of my ability. I ensure that in that journey, when they say one girl, I am that girl. In that journey, when people are sleeping, I set the standard for myself. No other person can be my standard. I can see her, envy her, and the next thing I'm doing is I want to do her, do me, and do another person. If you grew up in a family where you were not handed a spoon, not talk of whether plastic or silver or gold, you will know that meat where they do where no cuts, then they call nama. You set the standard for yourself, you will walk it, you will pass it, and you clap for yourself. Because people will never come and clap for you. Most of you wait for the applaud. Hey, my followers are now 10,000. Hey, if you see, I don't blow a trend. Now, take a look at leaders that served. Let me start from the Bible. Elisha got double portion of Elijah. You can add your own. Moses and Joshua. It is in history that if you serve religiously, there's no way you will not get double portion. Now, I used to work with mentors and people that were analog. When digitalization came, I improved myself. Their age, they couldn't improve themselves. So when opportunities come, but the impact is, you see, as that guy, they grow. He go drag me. We they go together. Why? Because while he was mentoring me, they said the thing way adults take past speaking, they hide down. So you will gain from the person, but you need to also add value to that person. One of the things I did differently when I came to this job, we had various SSAs, various political appointees. What I did differently was, I'm not going to be like every one of you. Forward thinking and proactiveness. Responsiveness is one value you would never regret your having. Some people interpret responsiveness as eye service. It is not. Before they say, you're there. That's the only thing that sets you aside. All of us here, if we were trained as fashion designers and we're doing the fashion business and we're as good as each other, one of the things that will set you aside or make your business prosper more than the other person is your ability to turn it around faster than the other people. You must create a niche for yourself. If you like run, you just made one random post on Instagram today and you blew. Allow me to use that English. How long can you sustain that thing? Yes, opportunities come. Are you ready for it? You went viral. And then people now scroll down your page. Content, 0. Value, 0. You only blow for 1 week. After that, you explode. And you come back and meet us here. We will now be going together again. You need to be intentional. If you want open bakery, open the bakery, add sugar for your own. If they come, they collect AC finish, give them complimentary. This thing, they know they sell them for market. You must pay your price to remain sustainable. I understand that you guys have a different challenge. Sandra has mentioned most of them. Wait, person do Yahoo Plus, you don't buy message. You see, they do keke from, I'll be there with you, man. Sorry, man, I'm inside keke now, I'll be with you. Somebody don't pull up. You're under pressure. We understand. But one thing is more sustainable. I don't want to go into controversial issues, though. All of us now, if you go on Instagram, you will see some old actors, actresses, they are raising different funds for them. I'm not saying their own, that's their profession. But it only tells you one thing. If some of them or some people have served, worked under people, paid their price, not maybe in Saturn or whatever, you will fall back on something. This woman is working with Enugu State. She has businesses and all of that. I'm working here. If you tell me come and lecture now, I'm coming. If you tell me, because you must make sure that the foundation is solid enough and you have your second option at every point in time. If you believe that you want to throw service away and you want to use the lift to the top, you then take light, we can go up. We where they take stairs, they come up, go reach where they go. And you know what lift does? When you are trapped and they reset the thing, where they go up or down, you said you can't go down. Then you can't go. You can't first again because you don't want hang. Waiting go come happen. You can't enter staircase, and be going. Then when you arrive, Passionate people like us will not say, oh, you did a very good. Oh, that was
Empathy.
very, very empathy.
Emotional
Characteristics of a leader. We will receive you again. And we will be very careful not to remind you that maybe you won't go. But inside our mind, we know waiting to you. So guys, I'm just going to end it here.
Well done.
Please. One thing that people like us lacked is mentors, role models, and because some people you go to talk to them and say they carry their face. It's more shut up, I beg. You know something now CBEX we go do. I bet how many of you now do CBEX for you?
All of us.
1 week collect $150,000.
50,000.
50,000 in 2 weeks, 150. Go and do CBEX. Say people will be mumu.
My senior colleague.
I got to this job, most people were like, oh, how come somebody is here? He's not part of us. You know, whatever you say. One thing was only happening to me when all of the noise was going on. I was so sure that if anybody wanted to dig, to query my competence at that time, they will then go belefu. If you go to my LinkedIn profile today, meanwhile, when they go through that in my brother, if I tell you I know what they do now, lie. One thing was just sure. They say, me we can't do audit associate. Abi, I got qualified even before I graduated in school. Audit associate, check. There was a time I had an issue in my career. I was not ashamed to restart because I was so sure that if anything would let me down, my hard work would never let me down. If you pass the shortcut and go, it will be difficult for people to recommend you in future. You go to CEO Cybex today. Imagine if somebody wants to nominate you for a ministerial appointment. We went for one event one day, and then my friend was supposed to read my citation. She read citation, even me, they fear say, I beg, na me be that. Then there were now fellow people in that place who wanted to read their citation.
Married.
And I said, Mrs. Lagbaja, she's married to Mr. Lagbaja, citation. She graduated from so university. My
Blessed
sister.
with 4 beautiful children.
Eh?
Blessed with 4
She's,
beautiful
yeah, the last time. She's blessed with 4 beautiful children.
But also organize a children.
And she organized a children party. Let's not. What do you want? So as of today, you should picture what your citation should look like. What's the impact? I'll leave you with this. Leadership without service is hollow. It's light, is empty. Service without impact is hollow. The only sustainable way to success in life is that a leader ensures that he serves. A leader ensures he serves. You must not lose sight of the goal that you're a leader not for yourself, but a leader for people. And the great myth, what we were made to believe, is that service is sacrifice. No. Service is a seed. It's a seed. That is what we feed you till you enter the ground. Coming and having something to defend my qualification was because I was given an opportunity to work with somebody, and while working with that person, I worked with my whole heart, did in quotes what you call eye service, and I was found worthy to be called again. Not to come and lead, to come and do what? Serve again. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.